Hello, and welcome to today's video. I am super excited because today I figured I'm wearing a cute little outfit that I bought while I was in Mexico on my cruise. So what better day to tell you guys about visiting Mexico than today? So while we do my hair, let's get into it. Going to Mexico was such a wild experience. I've never been out of country before. This was my first time and it was fascinating. So for starters, our port day in Mexico was at Ensenada. And there's obviously like the little like port area where it's like you first get off and stuff. And we didn't spend a lot of time there because we scheduled a like a bus tour to go to this like blowhole called La Bufadora. So we got off the ship, we hung out for maybe like 30 minutes before it was time to go. And then we hopped on the bus. Well, I mean, first we had to like, they had to check us. It was so sad but so funny. One of my favorite things on the cruise ship, I'm not even gonna lie, on-demand pears. Anytime I wanted, I could just go down to the promenade and they would give me pears. Well, I mean, I had to go and specifically ask for a pear, but I'm knocking stuff over. The cord is tangled with one of my other curling irons that I had out because I was gonna use it, but then I decided to do this one, whoop, and now the other one's on the floor. 1 second. Okay, let me move this out of the way so I don't just keep knocking it on the floor. I don't know if it's still warm because I warmed it up because I was going to use this one and then I changed my mind. So I just stick that one over there. Stop falling on the floor. But yeah, so I could just go down to the promenade and anytime I wanted, I could get a pear. And so like the night before, I had gotten a couple of pears to stock up. I liked getting like 2 pears at a time and then I'd eat one then and then keep one for like a couple hours later, or like sometimes if it was late at night, I would just say that you need it the next morning. And so that morning before we got off, I had a pear with me from the night before, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I am gonna toss this in our bag so I can eat it while we're like on this bus tour, because you're like, on the bus, it's a decently long drive, and I just was excited to have a pear. And so yeah, I had my pear ready to go, and we're going through the like checkpoint thing, and they have like the sniffing dogs, and so the dog comes up to us and then it like alerts on our bag and they're like, do you guys have like any like fruit or anything like that? And I'm just like, oh, no, not my pear. So they took my pear. I didn't get to eat my pear. I was so sad. And like, yeah, it was fine because later that day when we got back on the ship, I knew that I could get another one. But I really wanted that pear to eat while we were on the bus. And so the dog alerted and they took my pear. And it was pretty sad. Like I said, I really wanted to eat the pear. But, it was so cute. My husband was like, he's like, that was so cool, like watching the dog like alert. And like I knew that we had the pear. And I haven't done any research into why exactly they didn't want us to bring the pear, but I'm assuming something to do with like local ecosystem or something, or just whatever. But yeah, they did not let me bring my pear. They took it. But my husband thought it was super cool to see the dog like alert, like, it didn't want us to have that pear, but it was just doing its job. So, but it was kind of neat. But then so finally we got past that. I was now pearless. Pretty sad. All we had left in our bag was like some water bottles, and I think that was about it. I don't know that we had any other food, but it was okay because so we get on the bus tour and we go to like this like first little like checkpoint and stuff, and I learned a fun thing about Mexico. And by fun thing, I mean I didn't know this. I didn't even imagine this. It made me very sad. But you can't flush toilet paper. You have to put it in the trash can. So yeah, when we took our little like pit stop on the bus and I used the bathroom, I learned that, and I am just a little bit upset about it. But it is what it is. But it's certainly a way to learn it. But yeah, so that was a fun thing to learn. But then after that, we finally continued on the way to La Bufadora. It was just kind of this like, there was like this big parking lot and you had to like walk down this like strip of like shops. Like there was just like little shops like set up in tents and stuff, and it looked like they had a lot of neat things. But at first we just followed our tour guide to La Bufadora because we were like, let's check that out first. And then we can check out all the little shops. Admittedly, I was excited to check out the shops, but I was like, this is dangerous. Like, let's not spend a bunch of money because we already spent a bunch of money on the cruise. I did not prepare a spending budget for our trip at all. And so our spending budget was $0, and let me tell you, we went over that a lot throughout the trip. But that's besides the point. Anyways, yeah, so we go to La Bufadora. It was really neat. It was like this cool little like kind of like crevice in the side of like the cliffs on the ocean. And like the water would like, you know, go against it a bunch, and then every once in a while it'd just be this big and it was pretty neat. I don't know if I'll have time to edit it in, but if I do, I'll throw in a little video of it. So maybe you'll get that, maybe you won't. I've been so busy with work this week after, you know, being gone for a week and a half that it has been rough. So, yeah. But yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was fun to watch. The area was so beautiful. Just being right on the ocean like that was so neat. And so yeah, we enjoyed that. We took some pictures and stuff and hung out for a little bit. And then it was time to go and check out all of the little shops. And that was really fun because it was just like all kinds of little fun goodies and stuff. And the first thing I had an eye for obviously was the clothes. And so you can kind of see my cute little top here. You'll be able to see the rest of my outfit in my fit check for today. But yeah, I saw this and was just like, I have to have that. So I think I bought a total of 2 dresses and then 2 two-piece sets while we were in Mexico. I mean, I didn't necessarily buy them. My husband did because I was like, oh, that's really cute. And so like, and it's very convenient because he speaks Spanish. Because he took like classes in school. He has friends that speak Spanish, and he's also just been trying to practice it a lot lately, especially whereas his brother is currently living out of country, speaking Spanish. And so it's like, just kind of this like, well, it would be really cool for him to learn Spanish too. And I think a couple of his other siblings know at least some Spanish as well. So it just kind of, you know, makes sense. But yeah, and so he was able to barter with all the little shops. And it was so cool to watch. Like, I was just sitting there like, I have no idea what they're talking about. The only Spanish I know is from watching Dora the Explorer as a kid. So my Spanish is very limited, but it was so cool to see him like negotiate with them, and over again, like he told me about it later. It's like he'd get the same thing. It was like when they realized that like he could speak Spanish, they're like, oh, we can give you our special like Spanish speakers discount, and it was the neatest thing. But yeah, so we got some like decent deals on the stuff. I don't actually know how much we ended up paying for any of it. I just know that we got it for less than they were offering. And I mean, of course, like, any of the little shops, like, if you, like, were indecisive at all, they'd keep lowering their prices. But, like, the difference in the price that they would give once they found out he could speak Spanish was even more significant. So it was kind of fun. But yeah, so we picked out a few things there. And then we went to this one little shop. My husband really wanted one of the, like, fake Louis Vuitton bags because they have, like, a bunch of the little shops have, like, fake luxury items. He said that when, I think it was Egypt, had, like, the same kind of thing when he had visited, like, years ago. And he was always sad that he hadn't gotten one. And so he's like, can you please get one? And I'm like, of course. So he got his fake Louis Vuitton bag, and I got my cool little outfits. So I thought that was super fun. But yeah, so we kind of explored for a little while. And then they also had churros. And if you guys know anything about me and churros, I love churros, which is hilarious because as a kid, I didn't really like cinnamon, especially like cinnamon flavored desserts, like just not for me. But now I really like churros. They're one of my like favorite dessert type snack things. I used to get churros from Sam's Club all the time because they had like the huge big churros at Sam's Club for $1. And it was the best. And my mom would go to Sam's Club relatively often, and she'd always bring me churros home. But for some reason, they stopped making the churros at Sam's Club, so I can't get Sam's Club churros anymore, and it's so sad. But so while we were in going through all like the little shops, like a ton of them had like little food stands, and they would have churros. And so finally, and like they would give out like samples and stuff. And so we tried some of the samples. Like my husband carefully picked out, he's like, I think these ones look like samples worth trying. And so I was like, cool, I just want churros. And so I got my churros, and my churro sample, and I was like, this is great, let's get some churros. And then they had like 2 options. It was like a big, just single churro for $1, or like this bundle of a bunch of like medium-sized churros for $5. And I was just like, let's do the $5 one. And my husband's like, do you really want that many churros? And I'm like, it's $5. And so we got the big thing of churros. And the rest of the time we walked around, I was just snacking on them. And like, I'm not a big snacker, but give me churros. They are my weakness. I just kept eating them and eating them and eating them until there was like 2 left. I felt sick to my stomach, but I was like, these churros are so good. So finally I took a little break. Like, I had offered some to him, but he was snacking on something different. Like, I think he had gotten like a little burrito or a taco or something from this cute little shop. But so he was eating something else. He's like, no, I was like, whatever. And so I just kept kind of eating the churros, and like, I kind of just didn't pay attention. Then all of a sudden there was like 1 left, and we were getting back on the bus, and I'm like, I shouldn't have eaten that many churros. But this bus ride, I don't know, it was maybe between 20 and 45 minutes. I know that's a decent range. I don't know exactly where it was, because I was so fascinated just watching, like, all the places we're driving by. Because, like, going on, like, the bus tour really gave us a chance to see more of Ensenada than just, like, the main little touristy area. And it was so fascinating to compare it to the States. One thing that I thought was really fascinating was car dealerships. Like, they had, like, the same brands of car dealerships as you would see in America, or, you know, the United States, but it would just be this little teeny corner shop. I'm like, there's nothing like back in Utah. It's like they have this massive lot full of cars, really big building. In Mexico, they were just these little, like, they were like the size of like a McDonald's. Like, that was the entire lot. And then they just had like several cars out front and then several cars in the front display window. And it was so fascinating to see and just really cute. And my husband was telling me apparently sometimes like they're not even like registered dealers. It's just like if somebody has a bunch of Kias and they're like, well, the signs for Kias are made in Mexico, let me just like find one and set up my little Kia shop, and then they're Kia. I don't know exactly how accurate that is, but that's what my husband said, and I'm like, that would be hilarious. So yeah, let me know if you guys know anything about that, because I just thought that was really fun. But yeah, so we saw that. Another thing that was interesting is like power lines. The way that they would just have these like big poles with just hundreds, maybe even thousands of like these little wires just going off of them and connecting to everything else. It was insane. I'm like, it made like the intense looking power lines in the United States look like nothing. It was crazy. But yeah, it was such a neat experience to drive through, to get to see the different little areas. Some of just the cute little places, some of the kind of run down places. But it really gave me a lot more perspective into, you know, what it's like there. And I love that. It was so cool to just see and watch. And while I was enjoying seeing all the things and looking at the cute little car dealerships, I accidentally may have eaten the rest of the churros. So I finished this entire bundle of churros. It was so many churros. And I ate them all within like probably an hour and a half. It was horrible for me. My body can't handle that. There is not that much room for churros. And I ate all of them. And I legitimately felt sick to my stomach for like the next 24 hours. I didn't want to eat anything the next day. It was like the last day of the cruise or something. And I was just like, I don't want to eat anything. I feel sick to my stomach. Like that night after we had gotten back on the ship and my husband was ready to go to dinner, I'm like, I'm still recovering from those churros. And like they have like a really fancy dinner on the ship. Like you can have like this like multi-course meal. Super duper fun. But that's what my husband wanted for dinner, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to eat anything. Like, I will just follow you, so, like, you pick whatever you want. And so we went and did that, and we get there, and I'm just like, I think I'm just going to order a salad and munch on that, because that is all I have room for. And it was great. I love salad so much, the little Caesar salad. But so I just munched on that, and then for my main course, I just asked my husband what he wanted, and so he got his main course and then mine too. And so it worked out all right. Neither of us wanted dessert after that. And so we're just like, well, cool. I think later I probably did eat another pear just for the sake of having like been so sad about them taking my pear. So it all worked out. But yeah, long story short, the main things I learned during my time in Mexico is it pays to speak Spanish. Don't eat all of the churros. And it's a very different place from the United States, but at the end of the day, you know, it's still just people trying to make a living and people existing in what's normal for them. And it was such a neat experience. I so look forward to getting to travel more of the world, visit more countries. I'm hoping, I don't know if I'll go on any more international trips this year, but hopefully next year maybe I can make it to Europe, because that would be really cool. But yeah, so that is a little bit about my time in Mexico. It was such a neat day, and I absolutely loved it. It was so fun. And yeah, that is all for today's video. Have you guys ever been to Mexico? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to know if you guys have any fun stories or Any bad experiences with overeating churros? Don't get me wrong, they were still great churros. Too good was the problem. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.